Fantasy Football Factory going into week 5. First quarter of the season is done. I'm with the King of the South, Mintzy. We got Moody on the sticks. I am Stephen Cheah. We are, as always, brought to you by DraftKings. Now, DraftKings Pick 6 is something that is a little bit different, but really, really fun. It's awesome. So download the DraftKings Pick 6 app. Use promo code FACTORY, FACTORY. If you don't know how to play, it's super easy. You just pick a couple different players to have more or less of a certain stat. Will they have more or less than will Joe Flacco have more or less than 221 and a half passing yards? Will I was going to say Lamar Jackson, but that's a little bit of a sensitive topic. Will Michael Pittman Jr. have more or less than 53 and a half receiving yards? Things like that. You can combine them for bigger payouts. So again, new DraftKings customers, download the Pick 6 app with code FACTORY, FACTORY. Play just $5, get $50 in bonus picks. Get in on the action with our promo code FACTORY. Thanks to DraftKings Pick 6. They have awesome multipliers on there, awesome boosts, so check them out. A lot of big storylines going into week 5. We saw some top players again succumb to injury. Lamar Jackson, his injury timeline is unclear at the moment. Jaden Daniels missed this past week.
The Lamar thing, they have a bye week 7.
Yes.
So it would make sense to sit 2 out and then the bye and then come back, but there's a sense of urgency because they're 1-3.
1-3.
They're 1-3.
Yes. Well, we're taping this on Tuesday morning. It has been confirmed he did not finish the game due to a hamstring. They didn't necessarily say he could have played if it was a closer game. I mean, the Ravens are getting shellacked. And now their best defensive player, Nnamdi Madubuike, is out for the year, which is a whole separate issue. But then Monday night we saw Tyreek Hill go down in one of the grosser injuries and also one of the weirder reactions we've seen post-injury where he was just kind of laughing and smiling and waving at fans and putting up the number 1 sign.
I think he just was thinking, I'm getting $30 million and now I don't have to play for Miami anymore the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Because we've already seen how, all the offseason stuff, him being unhappy. He knows that team's not going anywhere, so I guess he's thinking, well, it sucks, I got hurt, but...
How do these moves affect your Ravens and Dolphins outlook? The Ravens is a bit unclear, but we're assuming Cooper Rush is going to start the next 2 weeks at least. How does this affect? Let's start with Miami with Tyreek Hill, which we know. How does this affect his pass catch?
Well, I'm pouring one out for Moody and me because we're in the 50K buy-in league. We're 3-1, and we had it rolling, and this Tyreek injury just gutted us. I mean, we're just so – there's just – I had like that – you have that pit in your stomach, nauseousness when you know something's wrong. I couldn't fade it all last night.
That was one of the weirder-looking injuries we have seen where his knee just went completely 90 degrees sideways.
Yeah, it's terrible. And, they hadn't announced it today, but, I'd be
He's
shocked.
Out for the year.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I assumed.
If that hasn't been announced, I'll break that. He's out for the year.
Yeah, I think so, too. So on the
career, that was devastating, brother. That was bad.
Yeah, on the Miami front, 2 people benefit a lot. We saw the return of Darren Waller last night. By the way, I took him touchdown boosted. He was 5-1 last night. I boosted it to plus 665. I did not have the nuts to do 2.
You see Marty Mush, first touchdown and anytime.
Wow. Well, I had him anytime at plus 665, so I hit. All right, so the 2 people that benefit the most in Miami are Darren Waller. And the thing is, because last year we saw how much Tua relied on Jonnu Smith. I'm not saying Darren Waller is going to be that, but Tua does like throwing to a tight end of the offense. He's big. He's a red zone target. He probably just had his best game of the year, but at least he's an option. And tight end in fantasy right now is like a wasteland. The other person who directly benefits is Malik Washington, who they've been getting a lot of touches to. He's been getting carries. He's now the number 2 receiver. He's fast, and I think he's an ad this week in fantasy. This still kills their offense, though, because Jalen Waddle is good but can't stay healthy. I don't think he's like an elite number 1.
Yeah, definitely not.
No, and so I think you're going to see more touches for Washington, Waller in the red zone, and that's just what it is. And we saw Miami go more 2 tight end sets last night. I think maybe you'll see more of that going forward as well.
I don't want to spend too much time on this because we don't know the prognosis, but if Lamar misses time, how does this impact your evaluation of Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers?
Well, the thing is, I expect Lamar to miss time because the hamstring thing, it's going to hurt. If he does play, he's not going to be able to run as well, so that hurts Lamar's value. Anyway, Cooper Rush, though, good signing. He's a solid guy that you can win with a good defense. I'm not saying he's going to come out and throw for 400 yards.
What if you don't have a good defense?
That's true. And their defense has allowed about 79 points the last 2 weeks by my addition, so that's not good. All right, so I think Zay Flowers should be maybe it hurts him a touch, but not a ton. I mean, I think Cooper Rush will throw for a couple 100 yards a game. It's going to hurt Henry because the threat of Lamar Jackson, I always talk about this all the time. When you have a quarterback that can run, it opens up the running game. And anybody that's going to play the Ravens now is going to say, we're going to make Cooper Rush beat us through the air, and we're going to stack the box on Henry. Henry's still capable of doing stuff in that situation, but it definitely doesn't help him. If Zay Flowers' value goes down, it's very minimal. I think it's about the same for Zay Flowers. I'm not sure what Isaiah Likely's status is when he's coming back, but I think Mark Andrews, Cooper Rush threw to the tight ends a lot in Dallas. And so I think, they're going to score less points, so it's going to hurt a little bit, but I don't think it affects, say, Flowers or Andrews that much.
Okay. All right. That's fair. Let's talk about the week.
Malik Neighbors.
Malik Neighbors.
I have a slightly different take on that. I think it helps Derrick Henry because he has not been getting the touches that he deserves. They've been relying on Lamar quite a bit, and I think they're just going to feed him the football. Like, his touches are down compared to where we've seen the last couple of years. So I understand he's going to see more stacked boxes, but I think you're going to see more 2 tight end sets, and I think they're just flat out going to feed Derrick Henry. So, yeah, it's going to be tougher sledding, but there's going to be more sledding. So I actually think this is not as bad of a thing for Derrick Henry for the next couple of weeks, to be honest with you.
So you would advise Derrick Henry managers to hold then, correct?
I would hold on to him. I think he's going to get the touches he deserves. They have not – look, his numbers the last, weeks 2 and 4 – not very good because he just wasn't getting the ball. They're relying on Lamar Jackson. I think you're going to see a lot more Derrick Henry moving forward.
I actually agree with that. My only concern with that and starting him in either DFS or a 18 league or something like that is you're worried about game flow. Is this a game where, like this week, they are playing, I believe, the Texans, right? Yes, the Texans at home. If you have a game where it could get out of hand, he's taken out of the game in passing situations. It's Justice Hill's show. Like we saw this past week in Kansas City where they get down and it's just Justice Hill till the end for the most part. But I agree. If there is a game, like I do like him this week against Houston, that's a game where they're actually favored right now. I think Derrick Henry sees a boost in the short term. But yeah, you're right. Malik Neighbors, what does this do? I mean, Jackson Dart is going to be the starting quarterback, which I think has looked good so far, and he provides some rushing value. But then what does this do to Giants receivers? Not they were big owns before this, but like Wan'Dale Robinson was a guy who's rosterable.
Yeah, look, you had him number 14 going into the year, and you went bold on it. He's their number 1 target now. And
I don't know if that's a good thing.
The only thing, because the other thing, part of your thing was people keying on Neighbors. And the other thing, Dart, we saw him do it with his legs. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's a guy that's going to be throwing for 300 yards. Like, I think he's going to be running. The running value's there, and I don't know that we're going to, I think we're going to be seeing a couple 100 yards a game.
Yeah.
Good value at the Saints this week, though.
Yes, that is true. All right, let's talk about this week's slate. We're going to talk about the classic slates. We're going to ignore the Thursday Night Football, San Francisco and the Rams, the Sunday night game, New England against Buffalo, which could have some sneaky fun, turn into a fun game, and the Monday night game, Kansas City, Jacksonville, the upstart Jags. We have 4 teams on a bye this week, too, so just be careful of that. Fantasy managers, the Falcons, the Bears coming off a big win, the Packers coming off a tie, and the Steelers. All right, so the games this week. So Minnesota-Cleveland is the early London game.
Wild for Minnesota to do the back-to-back over there.
It's smart. They stay over there.
No, I know. It's just interesting.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the standard slate, which starts with Dallas and the Jets. Dallas, 1.5 favorite, 46.5 is the total. We saw a wild game on Sunday night. And the Jets backdoor, they didn't cover, but they made it interesting.
Yeah, Justin Fields with one of the wildest roundabout ways to a stout fantasy game last night. He had like 2 points in the first half, ended up with 27.
That 4th and
the run
3 run was incredible.
Yeah, no doubt.
We have Denver going to Philly, Brian Dawkins Bowl. Philly favored by 5.5, 44.5 is the total. Baltimore hosting Houston. Baltimore favored by 3.5 right now. We do not know Lamar's status, but the line would indicate he's going to play.
I will just go ahead and announce early that 42.5 if Lamar's out. That over-under is like 5 points too high. That thing, I mean, if Lamar's out, that 42.5 is crazy in that game. I mean, you see these Houston games this year?
I know, but the Ravens have such bad defense.
Well, Houston's offense is probably
all right, we have the Giants going to New Orleans, the Manning Bowl, Archie versus Eli. 42.5 is the total. Giants favored by 1.5 on the road.
Yeah, that's that. It's bad New Orleans when you're catching points at home for the Giants starting a rookie quarterback in a second game.
We got in what could be a sneaky fun game, the Raiders going to the Colts. Colts favored by 6.5, 48.5 is the total. We got Miami going to Carolina. Miami favored on the road in a short week against a unpredictable Panthers team, 44.5 as a total. The Bucs going to the Seahawks. Both teams came into the league in 1976. They're both going to be wearing their retro uniforms.
And a battle of 3-1 teams.
In a battle of 3-1 teams. Could be an important game in the NFC, 44.5 as a total. Tennessee going to Arizona. The Cardinals favored by 8.5.
Tennessee, there's some bad teams in pro football right now. This Tennessee thing is, I think they're the worst.
This is why you don't draft a quarterback early unless you have the tool. They're so far away.
I mean, the thing is with Tennessee, their ownership got into that spat with Vrabel, and they had no idea what they had with Vrabel. He was, the last couple of years, they were terrible, and he was like keeping them in games. And this Callahan hire, I mean, he's 3-18 now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to have to, they got to gut everything.
Yeah. We don't know Jaden Daniels' status yet, but the Chargers are hosting the Commanders. 2.5 points. The Chargers.
That makes me think he's playing because I think the Chargers would be over, especially after Washington lost to Atlanta last week. I think it would be more than 2.5.
Chargers didn't look good, and Joe Alt looks like he's going to miss some time.
Yeah, no, that's tough.
49.5 is total there, and then we got Detroit going to Cincinnati. Cincinnati looked awful last night.
Yeah, I hammered them. I will say the party. I had Denver minus 7.5, and I hit a huge 30-1 parlay. I feel like the party's over now with this point spread on the Cincinnati thing. I could tell after the Vikings game last week that this is
9.5 against the Bengals with Detroit's offense. 49.5 is the total. That is your slate. Again, we're excluding Sunday night and Monday night. Yeah, if Jamar Chase had one long catch, me and Big Cat each have a parlay that cashes. Everybody goes home. Mega winners. Did not happen. Was tough. But what games stand out to you? Moody, I'll start with you from this slate.
Oh, first and foremost, it's the Jets and the Cowboys. I mean, this Dallas defense is absolutely awful.
46.5 is a total.
Though. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised. I think it'll continue to creep up as we move closer to Sunday, personally. I don't know how you couldn't have the over in this game. The Jets are a bad team. They make a ton of mistakes. They shoot themselves in the foot. They are sloppy with the penalties. But if they can clean a little bit of that up, the offense looks decent, and especially against this Cowboys defense, I think that'll be a shootout. I think Colts Raiders in the Dome on the turf, chance to be a shootout. Those are kind of the two that stuck out to me the most. There's a couple more that certainly look good, but those are my main two.
Yeah, I'm all about this Raiders Colts as well. That's the one that stands out to me. The Jets Cowboys does. I'm not gonna look. I'm just adding to what Moody said. I don't like. There are a couple games I don't like. I mentioned that Texans Ravens 42.5. I think that's an under. Broncos Philly on paper looks better than it is. I feel like that might be more of a grinding type game in that matchup. I don't know that that's the shootout that when you look at the star power, you'd think higher scoring, but I don't see it necessarily. And Tampa, Seattle, I don't think that's a shootout really necessarily either, to be honest.
I think this is the week you could see Jalen Hurts start to sling it to some receivers finally after A.J. Brown puts out that pretty cryptic message on Twitter. We'll see with that game. I do like Raiders Colts as my funnest game of the week.
Commanders Chargers could be good too, but you mentioned it, this Chargers offensive line thing. You're down Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt. You had two all-pro tackles, and now you have none. I mean, that's a real thing they're dealing with.
One I think that could have some sneaky fantasy value, Miami, Carolina. 44.5 is total. Carolina laid an egg last week. Miami off a short week. I don't think it's necessarily going to be a pretty game, but I think you could see some fantasy points.
I actually think that's a spot where Carolina's going to win this game. Miami with the Tyreek thing on a short week. We saw Carolina blow out Atlanta at home. This is like a spot where Carolina just got blown out. My instincts like Carolina in that game.
Yeah. Let's go over the positions for daily fantasy and the prices. Who stands out to you? So, again, we don't have intel on Lamar Jackson, his playing status for this week. He is the top of the market quarterbacks, 7,300. Jaden Daniels, also unclear at the moment, 7,000. Then we go to Jalen Hurts, 6,800. Jared Goff, 6,500. Baker Mayfield, 6,300. Justin Herbert, 61. And we go down by hundreds after that. You can get Joe Flacco, bottom of the market, $4,500. Mintz, who stands out to you, signal caller.
I mean, there's two guys that stand out. It's Daniel Jones at 5,800. It's Justin Fields at 5,600. I'm leaning toward Fields because the rushing value is so good. And look, I watched a lot of that Jets game last night. Their passing game, it's bad. I mean, everything's underneath their Garrett Wilson. That's all they got. I mean, he's just check down. But I think Garrett Wilson could get loose in this game against this Dallas secondary they might as well have an XFL secondary. It's absolutely atrocious. I mean, if you're Dak Prescott, you're like, what do I have to do to win a game? They had a 40-37 win over Giants and OT and a 40-40 tie. They score 40 points and can't win both games at home this year. So I'm leaning toward Fields, but I'm also considering Daniel Jones. But those are the two guys that stand out the most to me.
Moody, how about you?
I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to plant my flag right now, Cheah. I'll plant it again later, but it's going down right now. It's Justin Fields at 5,600 against this Cowboys defense. Look, as far as the Sunday slate is concerned, Fields averaging the third most fantasy points per game. He obviously set out a week, but he is running the football 60 yards per game and a touchdown on the ground. That is a huge floor for fantasy football. And at 5,600, I don't think you're going to find any more value going up against a Dallas defense that has been atrocious. Right now, Dak knows what it feels like to be Tony Romo. The Cowboys have gone back to that now. It is, I think this is going to be the shootout of the week. I think the Cowboys are going to be in the shootout of the week damn near every week this season. And I think Justin Fields, especially if they can clean up those stupid penalties, I think the offense has a really big week this week. I like Garrett Wilson as well, but I love Fields. I think he's going to run loose on the Cowboys. We might see a 100-yard game from Justin Fields on the ground.
And then you do get that bonus for that, so I like that. One guy that stands out to me, in addition to Justin Fields and Dak Prescott, in addition to Justin Fields and Daniel Jones, is Dak Prescott. I think this is going to be a little bit more of a wild game, which we just spoke about. This is one I look at. The one thing I would point out is this is an away game. They will be at MetLife. But
speaking of MetLife, by the way, we were mentioning Malik Neighbors' thing. Another ACL injury there. MetLife has been. It is. I want to see some numbers run on the graveyard of knee injuries in that stadium because it is like Odell Beckham came out with this week, but that MetLife specifically is just it's just killing everybody.
It was like 2 years ago where the Niners played there and they lost like 5 or 6 guys to IR in that game. Yeah, it is bad.
I mean, they got to do something about it. Odell Beckham came out and said it on the grass thing, and I think we're at a point where these guys make so much money. He's got a point.
Yeah. All right, let's go over the running back market. Jonathan Taylor, top of the market, 8,000. Jahmyr Gibbs, 7,700. Saquon Barkley, 7,500. Devon Achane, 7,300. Bucky Irving, whose status we don't know. He was getting an MRI on Monday. Results not yet in. 7,200. Derrick Henry, 7,000. Ashton Genty, 6,700. Amari Hampton, 6,500. Then it goes down by hundreds all the way down to you can get a replacement level player or a backup at about $4,000. Mincy, who stands out to you in the running back market?
I'm thinking about just spending the money on Taylor this week. And I know that's crazy at 8,000. But the Colts offense has been really good. I think this is going to be a higher scoring game. I think the Raiders defense is very good. So if I'm going to pay for a top of the market guy, it's him. The other guys I'm looking at are actually, I can't believe I'm saying this, and I'm willing to eat crow on it because I was the biggest hater before the year. But I'm looking at Javonte Williams at 6,200 because the Jets' run D sucks. It's been bad. We saw it again last night.
And bet of the year, under 5.
I was wrong. Hey, hand up.
Throw it in the towel. He might get hurt.
Yeah, he might. And then I'm also looking at Cam Scatterboo at 6,000.
Good. He's been real good.
Well, yeah, and the thing is he catches the ball. Mm-hmm. He's the only guy now that Tracy's out. So he gets rushing, he catches the ball, and I think he finds the end zone against New Orleans. So I think at 6,000, that's good value.
Yeah. Moody, who stands out to you on the running backs?
I am doubling down on the Detroit Lions backfield in this game against Cincinnati. I think they're going to play from ahead. They're going to run the football down Cincinnati's throat, and I'm playing both Jahmyr Gibbs at 7,700. I'm putting David Montgomery in my flex at 5,200. I want both of those guys because I think this is one of those weeks where they're going to pop off and just run the football a ton in the second half. So I've got both of those guys in my lineup. And then I'm going with Devon Achane at 7,300. So I'm spending some serious money here at running back. I think Achane has to become the focal point of the offense for the Dolphins. I think he catches 7 or 8 balls in this game. He already catches a ton of balls, led the NFL in receptions last year. I think he's going to get a ton of catches. They're going to draw him up, screens, all kinds of things. He will see a ton of touches moving forward without Tyreek Hill in the lineup. Even though the Dolphins suck, this is a winnable game potentially in Carolina. I love Devon Achane as well as Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery.
Love it. I like Gibbs as well this week. Montgomery, you bring up an interesting point about the potential get-right game for them to get wild, especially, we saw Denver, both their running backs have big games last night against that Cincinnati defense. Certainly Detroit has the potential to do that. A name I'm going to suggest, two names I'm going to suggest, and we're just going to need to wait on injury stuff. Rashad White and Sean Tucker, mostly Sean Tucker, who's at $4,000. He is the Bucs' best between the tackles runner after Bucky Irving. If Bucky Irving does miss some time, he is a guy not only to play in DFS, but to pick up on your season-long fantasy rosters if he misses more than a week. So Sean Tucker is a name to watch there. One name I like the Scadaboo play. I like Jahmyr Gibbs. Omarion Hampton, we finally saw break out against the Giants with a full workload. I like him this week against Washington. But I'm actually going to pivot. I'm going to use my plant your flag. I like what Moody did. Use your plant your flag guy in the moment. Woody Marks.
Yeah, catching the ball.
And he had I believe it was 5 catches for 50 yards or 4 catches for 50 yards. He had 119 total yards. He is slowly taking over that backfield. His snap percentage by week. Week 1, 11%. Week 2, 27%. Week 3, 48%. Week 4, 56%. He finishes RB6 this past week. Obviously, it's a game against the Titans where they're winning. I believe the final score is 20.
That actually is good to me, though. The fact that he got that high snap count is a good sign against the Titans because you would think Marks would be the third down back playing when they were losing. Mm-hmm. And he got that high snap count in a game they were dominating. So I actually think that's a better sign than you think.
Yeah, in a game going up against the Baltimore Ravens, and the Texans have been fairly lifeless on offense, just not a lot of juice. I think Woody Marks gives them that juice. Somebody sent me the clip and nominated it for the block of the year. He had an unbelievable rep in pass pro. I forget who it was, but he absolutely buried a defensive end or edge rusher into the ground. So yeah, he's a guy that can catch passes. He can run it. In a game against the Baltimore Ravens leaky defense at $5,400. He's a guy I'm going to start in every single one of my DFS lineups this week. Woody Marks of the Houston Texans is my plant your flag guy of the week. Let's move on to the wide receivers. So we got Amon-Ra St. Brown setting the market at $7,900 against Cincinnati. We have a Bengals player, Jamar Chase, very frustrating player. But he did tweet out. He had several tweets saying that basically he tries his hardest on the football field. I guess he was being accused of loafing or something like that. It was an ugly game last night. I don't put that on Jamar Chase. $7,800 for him. JSN, Jackson Smith-Njigba, $7,100, who's going against his former Ohio State teammate, Emeka Egbuka, $6,900.
How about Emeka, him being that high already at $6,900? I mean, you don't see a rookie emerge to that in week 5 often.
Yeah, he is a hell of a player, I'll tell you that. Then we got Nico Collins, $6,800, George Pickens, $6,600, and it goes down by hundreds after that. You can go all the way down to like a little over $3,000 to get a replacement level player. Moody, who stands out to you in the receivers market?
Well, I'm pairing Garrett Wilson with Justin Fields. Again, we've seen the Cowboys just get flat out torched at this point by wide receivers. Loved Garrett Wilson at 6,100, and he's the clear-cut number one. I mean, it's unquestioned. He's a great receiver, too. I mean, this could be the number one receiver in the league if he had a legitimate quarterback. I think Fields, obviously, a fantasy star, but a lot of that's because of his legs. So I love Garrett Wilson this week. I like Nico Collins this week at 6,800 against Baltimore. Mm-hmm. Baltimore has been giving up a ton of yards to receivers as well. Their defense has not been the defense we've become accustomed to. And the Titans obviously suck, but it felt like that Houston found a little something last week offensively. They finally looked better, so I like him at 6,800. And then I've got Michael Pittman Jr. at 5,100 against the Las Vegas Raiders as my wide receiver 3 this week. Maybe the first time ever I have put a Colts receiver in my DFS lineup. Give me Michael Pittman at 5,100.
Love that. He finished as wide receiver 22 this past week, but he has finished as wide receiver 8 and wide receiver 13 overall, which is solid showing for Michael Pittman Jr. Mincy, who you like in the receivers market?
In the name of planting my flag, I'm on the Garrett Wilson 6,100. This Dallas secondary is as bad as it gets, and even though when you watch the Jets, the passing game is either Wilson or check down. Wilson's the first read every time, and then it's a check down or Fields runs. That's what it is. They might as well not have a number 2 or 3 receiver on the roster. That's the whole pass. That's the whole passing game.
Double sneeze.
I'm going to spend some money on JSN at 7,100. You know, the Bucs, seen them for years and years and years. Always a stout run defense. If they allow yardage, it's through the air. And JSN's target share is so high, and he's been very, very consistent, so I feel good about him. And then my number 3 I'm going with is Value Town. I'm going Malik Washington at $3,900. He's going to be the number 2. They've been manufacturing touches for him. He's got speed. They get him carries. And I think against Carolina. He's the number 2 receiver, and at 3,900, I think there's a chance he could have a game.
Love it. I am looking in the value town area as well in receiver land. A couple guys stand out to me. I agree with the Michael Pittman Jr. at 5,100, which I think is a little is pretty inexpensive considering his production and his matchup. But other guys on that team, Alec Pierce, $4,400. If he comes back from concussion protocol, he missed last week. We saw A.D. Mitchell catch a very long pass that should have been a touchdown. He is likely in the doghouse, so I think we see a little bit of an increase from in snaps from Alec Pierce, who has been pretty good this year. $4,400 I think is a very good value. One other guy I want to point out that I think could be a bit of a cheat code this week in daily fantasy is a Bucs receiver named Tez Johnson. So he is $3,100. He is a rookie out of Oregon. This week, he played way more snaps than he had in the past. With Mike Evans out, with Chris Godwin getting back and integrated into the lineup, you saw some changes. I expected them to lean a lot more on Sterling Shepard, who played a bit, but you definitely saw Tez Johnson getting mixed in more and more. He almost had a huge play 2 weeks ago that probably would have been a touchdown. Was not the best throw from Baker and didn't end up being connected. But they put him in, I believe it was the first or second play of the game on offense. So I like Tez Johnson at $3,100. If you're looking for a way to get one of the Jonathan Taylors or the Amon-Ra St. Brown or one of these much more expensive players, this is a way where I'm not expecting 10 catches for 130 yards and a touchdown, but I think he could be a guy who's like 2 catches, 60 yards and a touchdown. So Tez Johnson, I think, is an interesting value at $3,100 in a game where I think you could see some production from maybe lesser known receivers than the Chris Godwins or the Emeka Bukas. All right. Tight ends, let's talk about them. Trey McBride setting the market at $5,800. Brock Bowers, $5,500. Then a big gap down to Jake Ferguson, who's been very good at $4,800. Goes all the way down to, you can get Elijah Arroyo for $2,600. Moody, who stands out to you on the tight end market?
Well, I've spent a lot of money at this point, so I have to go cheap at tight end. And I'm going to pair Mason Taylor with Justin Fields. Taylor's snap or his target share has gone up each and every week. Put up a pretty good game last night. 5 catches, only 27 yards, 11.5 fantasy points. But he had a touchdown as well. So I think that there's a chance that we're going to continue to see him week after week. 5 catches, 65 yards. His long was 27 yards. So that's my bad. I think we're going to continue to see him become more and more a part of this offense. He looked really good last week. Justin Fields needs that second target, too. It's not just Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall catching the ball out of the backfield. It looks like it's going to become Mason Taylor. If he'll give me 5 for 67 with the rest of this lineup that I've put up, I would be absolutely thrilled. So I like Mason Taylor at $2,800. One of the main reasons being I just don't have any cash left to spend.
Love it. Mincy, who you got at tight end?
2 options. If I spend the money, it's $4,700 on Tyler Warren, who is the consistency is just
been really good.
I mean, the thing with him for being a rookie, it's every week. The target share, he's getting 5, 6 balls, 60, 70 yards. The offense is good. He's got a great role.
He had a rushing touchdown this week. He
he did that at Penn State did that. He was Wildcat quarterback.
But he did that this week
in
the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler Warren, he's still under 5K, so I think there's still value there. And then my sneaky cheap one is Theo Johnson at $3,400. He had a touchdown last week. We know Malik Neighbors is out. Theo's a kind of, flash with Russell Wilson. I think he's going to play even better with Jackson Dart. And, he's part of this young core they're building with. And New Orleans, playing just atrocious Saints defense, $3,400, I think he can get in the end zone again.
Yeah, I think you can go all over the market with this. I think Trey McBride, if you have the money, is a great play against Tennessee. Brock Bowers in a projected high-scoring game against the Colts at $5,500. Jake Ferguson, going against the Jets in a game we all think is going to hit the over on that number of $4,800. If you're looking for bargain hunting, I think Elijah Arroyo at $2,600 for the Seahawks. The Bucs have had trouble defending tight ends. We saw Dallas Goedert. I believe he finished this week as tight end 1. He did catch 2 touchdowns, but they struggle. Matching up with big size and athleticism. Levante David, Servassier Dennis, not in good as coverage as certainly Levante used to be, but Servassier Dennis has been tough in coverage this year. So Elijah Arroyo is a name to watch if you're looking to save money. But I also like the Mason Taylor play. Rondé Getz in the second also one to take a look at $2,700. All right, defense. So it starts with the Arizona Cardinals, $3,600. Detroit Lions, $35. Ravens, $34, going against the Texans. You can go all the way down to the Cincinnati Bengals being the lowest, going against the Detroit Lions, $2,100. Mincy, who do you like on D?
I'm going cheap, and I've got a cheap option that I actually think is going to be good, and it's Carolina at home against Miami. I'm just playing off what happened with Penix 2 weeks ago in Carolina when they shut him out.
Yep.
Tua has that capability too. To just come up there on a short week, no Tyreek, and just throw up a stinker and turn the ball over. I could see it. And at $2,500, it's cheap, and that's what I got.
They haven't given up a touchdown against a lefty quarterback this year.
Yeah, and I'm not saying Carolina's good. I just think Miami in a short week deflated after the Tyreek thing. I could see this is like if anybody's capable of a stinker just randomly, it's Tua, and I can see it here.
Moody, who do you like on defense, special teams?
Well, this obviously hinges on Lamar Jackson not playing, but I'm going to go with the Houston Texans at 2,400. Their defense has not been the issue. Like, as Mintz said earlier, they're playing low-scoring games for the most part. The defense has been pretty good. If you're telling me that I'm going to get the Texans at 2,400 against Cooper Rush, who I saw a lot as a Cowboys fan, I'm going to take that. And I need to save money here as well. I think the Texans at 2,400 make a lot of sense. If Lamar plays, I will probably pivot, but for right now, that's what I have my lineup set with.
I like the Texans play. I think that's pretty sharp. The Cardinals are interesting. Top of the market, $3,600, going against a Tennessee Titans team that just got coming off a shutout. The Cardinals are interesting because they play a type of defense that you really don't see, where they play, for the most part, 3 safeties and just kind of rotate who is blitzing on each play. So a very difficult defense to prepare for, to react to in the moment. I think we could see a Cam Ward pick or 2. So Cardinals at $3,600. If you have the budget, I think it makes sense for them to be top of the market. But I do like the Texans play at 24 if you're looking to save a little bit of dough. That is all for the Week 5 slate. Are there any other things you want to get to, fellas?
Who'd you get in your flex?
In my flex, I mean, it depends how much money you're trying to save. I do like the Colts receivers this week. I'm probably going to try and save at one point with Tez Johnson at $3,100, but either one of the running backs or the cheaper receivers that I named.
I've got 6,000 left. I think I'm going to go with Cortland Sutton. I know the Eagles don't have that bad a defense, but I feel like Sutton he seems like he should be a little priced a little higher. He's consistent.
I tell you what, Quinyon Mitchell, he did not travel with Emeka Egbuka. He played one of the better games I've seen a cornerback play on Sunday against Tampa. He was everywhere. He did grab shirts a lot, but he also deflected a lot of passes very cleanly a lot. He's a hell of a player. All right, I believe that. Sorry, Moody.
Well, just real quick, one thing I want to throw out, I'm not necessarily maybe for DFS, but it could make sense in DFS as well, is Darius Slayton is potentially an ad this week with the loss of Malik Neighbors. Look, he led the Giants in receiving this past week. I mean, he didn't pop off for anything. He had 3 for 44, but that led their receiving core. And so without Malik Neighbors being there, they're going to need someone to step up. While I think Wan'Dale Robinson is certainly going to see his targets as well, it feels like Darius Slayton's going to have to be a part of this offense, especially in games where the Giants get into a shootout and they can't just run the ball with Scatterbo. I think there's a spot for Darius Slayton to be on your bench in most leagues and then potentially move into a starting lineup if things progress the way it possibly could. So just a name to keep an eye on moving forward.
Love that. Love it. Good luck this week, everyone in the regular fantasy and in DFS. Hopefully see you guys in the winner's circle. For King of the South, Mincy. For Moody, I'm Stephen Cheah. See you guys next week.